The film is set in 14th century Italy, where some young nuns are leading a simple life in their convent. But when a young man comes to work at the convent, the young nuns are fascinated by him, and all their deep desires begin to emerge. They all want to be with him and try to seduce him in every way possible. But nothing is that easy to get, and the nuns will be forced to give up everything to fulfill their desire. To know what happens, watch till the end. At the beginning of the film, we see Sister Fernanda, who is leading her donkey through the forest to her convent. As she puts it back in its stall, Sister Ginevra comes there asking how the donkey keeps escaping into the woods. Sister Fernanda says she doesn't know and tells Sister Ginevra to not ask her so many questions. We are then introduced to Sister Alessandra, who is sitting all by herself in her room. The next morning, her father comes to see her at the convent. He reveals that the man she was supposed to marry is demanding a lot of dowries. Since they are unable to pay the dowry, they have turned down the marriage proposal. Alessandra is upset by this news, as she wanted to get married soon and leave the convent for good. Later, the three sisters are heading toward the housing part of the convent. When they pass by the groundskeeper, he stares at them. The sisters get furious at this, as they have told him numerous times not to speak or look at them. The sisters then assault the man with vegetables and farming tools and warn him not to speak or look at them again. We are then taken to a castle, where Lord Bruno is having dinner with his wife, Francesca. He is babbling on and on about finances and wars with other lands. But Francesca ignores him and keeps making eye contact with their manservant Macedo, who is standing nearby. It turns out that the two are having an affair, and often make love in Bruno's absence. Just then, she hears various noises and realizes that Bruno is coming their way. As soon as Bruno enters the room, Macedo escapes through the window and runs back to the servants' quarters. Bruno follows him to catch him, but Macedo gets into bed and pretends to be sleeping. So Bruno puts his hand on the chest of all of his servants and eventually detects Macedo's increased heartbeat. But since it is too dark to determine his identity, Bruno cuts off Macedo's ponytail so that he can identify him in the morning. But soon after Bruno leaves, Macedo cuts off the ponytails of all of the other servants, so that he won't be recognized in the morning. The next morning, when Bruno learns about this, he gets furious, as there is no way to identify the lover now. But later that day, Francesca tries to make love to Macedo out in the open, as she is being driven by her hormones and has lost any sense of discretion. Unfortunately, Bruno sees them and orders his guards to catch Macedo and cut off his balls. Macedo flees from the scene and runs into the forest before the guards can catch him. He then comes across Father Tommaso, who is drunk and his cart has overturned. Macedo decides to help him and gathers all the scattered items. Afterward, Tommaso offers Macedo shelter for the night at the convent. There, Macedo reveals that he is being chased by Lord Bruno, and he needs to stay low for a while. He also reveals about his affair with Francesca, and that he is ashamed of sin. Tommaso takes pity on him and decides to help him. He offers Macedo the job of the groundskeeper, as the previous groundskeeper left the job after being assaulted by the sisters. To avoid conflict with the sisters, Tommaso tells Macedo to pretend to be deaf and mute so that the sisters will have no reason to be angry at him. The next day, Macedo goes to work in the courtyard. When Fernanda sees him, she gets furious and pulls a weapon on him, demanding to know his identity. Just then, Sister Maria, the head of the convent, comes there and tells Fernanda that Macedo is the new groundskeeper. But Fernanda and Alessandra are curious about him and wonder what his motives are. Later that evening, someone throws stones at Fernanda's window. When Fernanda opens the window, she sees her friend Marta, who has come there to hang out with her. The two then go to Alessandra's room, where the three drink wine. Sometime later, Ginevra also joins them and reluctantly drinks with them. Afterward, Marta says that making love with a man is the greatest pleasure in the world. She then reveals that she has heard of a way to use the plant belladonna to concoct a potion that can seduce any man. After they all get drunk, Fernanda and Marta start kissing each other. They then attempt to remove Ginevra's clothes, but she says that she is too tired and wants to return to her room. So Fernanda helps Ginevra get to her room. Ginevra then kisses Fernanda, and the two end up making love. The next morning, Alessandra goes to meet Macedo and begins complaining about her life to him, thinking that he cannot hear her. She then kisses Macedo, as she is longing to be with a man. Macedo kisses her back, and the two attempt to make love. But Macedo stops, realizing that they may be spotted in the open. Meanwhile, Fernanda and Marta go into the woods to find the belladonna and create the potion. After finding the plant, Marta creates the potion and wants Fernanda not to drink it. Once the potion is ready, Marta puts 2 drops of it into each of Fernanda's eyes. Unbeknownst to them, Ginevra is watching them from some distance. Marta and Fernanda then go to Macedo's living quarters and begin to sexually assault him. They want to check if the potion is working or not. The two then get on top of Macedo and starts kissing him, but the 2 women suddenly stop and leave. Ginevra confronts Fernanda and asks her if last night meant anything to her, but Fernanda says they were drunk and having fun, nothing more. Ginevra is heartbroken by this, as this was the first time she felt love for someone. The next day, Bishop Bartolomeo comes to visit the convent and is welcomed by Tommaso and Maria. Meanwhile, Macedo sneaks into Alessandra's room and the two make love. But just then, an elderly nun enters the room and begins embroidering fabrics. However, she doesn't seem to notice the two making love. Alessandra gathers herself and joins the older nun in embroidering fabric. Macedo gets up and quietly sneaks out the window. Later, Ginevra too creates the potion and follows the same process Fernanda and Marta did. However, she drinks the potion. Meanwhile, Alessandra confronts Macedo, as she finds out that he was lying about his deaf and muteness. Macedo tries to explain himself, but Ginevra comes there. Alessandra quickly hides behind a wall. Ginevra then awkwardly attempts to kiss Macedo, but she stops and realizes that she is gay. Just then Fernanda comes there, so Ginevra hides behind the same wall where Alessandra is. Fernanda puts a knife to Macedo's throat, binds his hands and blindfolds him, and takes him with her. Alessandra and Ginevra follow them into the woods. They then discover a coven of nude witches dancing around a bonfire. Fernanda and Marta have tied Macedo to an altar. Fernanda then gets on top of him, as she intends to kill him after mating with him. But Ginevra, in her drug-induced state, joins the nude witches and starts dancing with them. But when they realize that Ginevra is not one of them, Ginevra starts screaming and attacking the witches. Marta attempts to calm her down, but Ginevra knocks her out with a totem stick. Alessandra stops Fernanda from murdering Macedo, who finally reveals his rush to everyone. Ginevra then confesses that not only is she gay, but is also Jewish. She then runs away naked with the donkey back to the convent. She knocks on everyone's door and tells them that Fernanda is a witch. Bartolomeo wakes up and finds Ginevra running in the hallway naked. The other sisters and Macedo also come there. Ginevra accuses Fernanda of witchcraft and Alessandra of mating with Macedo. Angered, Alessandra also reveals Ginevra's sexuality and that she is Jewish. Just then, Maria and Tommaso come out of Maria's room. It turns out that they were making love inside, which shocks Bartolomeo. So the next day, Bartolomeo reads out the list of numerous sins the sisters committed. They are all given penance, except for Tommaso, whose priesthood is stripped. On top of that, he is ordered to be a monk at a monastery. Macedo is sent back to the castle of Lord Bruno, where he is imprisoned. One day, the sisters go to gather some flowers. As they sit out in the field of flowers, they apologize to each other for betrayal. They make amends and forgive each other. However, they are worried that Macedo might be killed. Back at the castle, Lord Bruno tells Macedo that he has a new wife now, who will be a better lover once she reaches puberty. He also reveals that Francesca turned out to be from an enemy village, so he has sealed her in a wall with a boar and a dog. To thank Macedo for everything, Bruno promises to keep him alive for as long as possible. However, the catch is that he will torture him every day until he dies. After Lord Bruno leaves, Macedo begs the guards to help him escape, but the guards mock and tease him. Just then, a turtle with a candle on its back walks by, which draws the attention of the guards. After the guards follow it in wonder, the sisters sneak into the prison and free Macedo. They then leave a dummy in his place and dress him in a nun's habit. All of them then successfully escape from the castle and run into the woods. In the woods, Maria is taking the donkey to meet with Tommaso. They embrace and confess their love for one another. Just then, the sisters and Macedo come running by, so Tommaso and Maria hide nearby. Fernanda sees the donkey standing alone and is curious about it, but Jennifer grabs her and tells her to run. After they run into the woods, Tommaso and Maria kiss each other and are happy to be finally together. So this was the story of The Little Hours. If you like the story, then do watch the full film. And if you want to watch more such movies explained, then do subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.